Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Monday Night Raw review. And tonight's Raw, of course, was from the WWE Performance Center in Orlando. And this was Monday Night Raw's go-home show tonight for WrestleMania, which is happening this Saturday night and Sunday night, taking place on two nights. And it is officially WrestleMania week. And boy, oh boy, it doesn't even feel like WrestleMania week. You know, when WrestleMania week comes, you get very excited, because, you could attend WrestleMania Access, attend a takeover, the Hall of Fame, WrestleMania itself, Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, and, you get excited for WrestleMania week. This year, no. Because of this whole virus outbreak going on. WrestleMania week right now is just whatever. It's whatever. I just want WrestleMania to come on Saturday night and Sunday night and just have the show be over with. Because this WrestleMania has been cursed. And also, this year, I have to say, this year so far has been cursed because of this whole virus outbreak going on. Yeah, so WrestleMania, or as I would call the show, Failure Mania, because WWE did not want to postpone WrestleMania, and Vince McMahon, this senile old man, doesn't want to postpone WrestleMania. He just wants to keep the show going. And we don't have a crowd, so it's going to be very weird and depressing watching WrestleMania on Saturday night and Sunday night. It's going to be very depressing watching the show without a crowd. And they should just postpone WrestleMania, have it at MSG like the rumors were saying. But no, they have to go forward with the show. It's Vince McMahon. So yeah, are you all looking forward to WrestleMania this week on Saturday night and Sunday? I have to say 85% of you will probably say no. You guys are not looking forward to WrestleMania this weekend. Monday Night Raw tonight, to me, it was just a filler show. We had The Undertaker cut a great promo on AJ Styles. And, of course, we had repeat matches, rerun matches that we've seen. We had two of them on Monday Night Raw tonight. We had the WrestleMania 35 main event, the winner-take-all match, where both the Raw and SmackDown titles were on the line, of course. We all know Becky Lynch won that. She became Becky Two Belts. She made history, which the match itself was very predictable because going into that match last year at WrestleMania, we all knew that Becky was walking out with both belts. This was predicted before the main event, or before WrestleMania took place last year. So we had that match, and then we saw another rerun match where we saw Rey Mysterio versus Brock Lesnar from Survivor Series last year. It was the No Holds Barred match, and the WWE Championship was on the line. So yeah, we saw those two replayed matches during Monday Night Raw tonight. But let's get on with the review. So Monday Night Raw opened up with a promo from The Undertaker. And, The Undertaker wasn't in his, dead man gimmick, the dead man Undertaker gimmick. Looked like, we might see the American Badass version of The Undertaker at WrestleMania this weekend. Because he was talking, regularly, when he was in his American Badass gimmick back in the day, which I know a lot of people are mixed on the American Badass gimmick when The Undertaker came out with that years ago. Some people liked it, some people didn't care for it. I, for one, as a kid at that time, I really liked the American Badass gimmick of The Undertaker at that time. It was something different that time for The Undertaker. But he ended up cutting a promo on AJ Styles. He addressed Styles. He ended up calling Styles by his real name. And his real name is Alan Jones. So Taker ended up saying that Styles is a small man with a big mouth. And Taker doesn't know if Styles has a big set or he's just, really that stupid. So Taker ends up beating Styles. Taker ends up betting Styles, though, that he could drop some pipe bombs and get under his skin. And Taker said that he has heard far worse. He ended up saying that there may be some truth to some stuff that Styles ended up saying about him. And Taker then went on about how Styles knows that he didn't have what it took to hang back then with guys like, and Undertaker ends up mentioning, guys like WWE Hall of Famers, Stone Cold Steve Austin, HBK, Shawn Michaels, Booker T, Mick Foley. Undertaker, listed many others, The Rock. And Taker ended up saying that Styles waited until they were all gone. So he went on and says Alan has stepped in something he can't get out from. And Taker says that he gets it, and that it's just business. He ended up saying that Styles crossed the line the first time he mentioned his wife, Undertaker's wife, Michelle McCool. So Taker ends up saying that Styles must be mad that McCool does the Fate Breaker, the Styles Clash, aka the Styles Clash, better than Styles does. And he ended up saying that Styles will pay the ultimate price for disrespecting Michelle McCool. So Taker ends up saying that if Styles wants to be relevant at WrestleMania, there's no better way to make that happen. And he says, try me. I'll make you famous. And Taker says that he hopes Styles brings Gallows and Anderson with him. And they will all feel the holy trinity he's bringing. So Taker ends up saying they will hurt, feel pain. And most importantly, they will rest in peace. So then we hear the Undertaker's bell toll, and we see a tombstone appear. And it says, it's Styles' tombstone. It says the year that he was born till 2020 on there. So that was the other promo from The Undertaker, but really awesome promo from The Undertaker. I like that. We might see Undertaker go back to his, badass, his American Badass gimmick, because he was wearing a black leather jacket in this promo. He was wearing a skull cap. So this is little hints that we might see possibly the American Badass Undertaker give a comeback at WrestleMania. That's my prediction. May not be true, but we'll see Saturday or Sunday night. Saturday night or Sunday night. Whenever their match is taking place. But this was a great promo from The Undertaker. And so then we went into the Performance Center, and we were greeted by Tom Phillips and Byron Saxton, and we saw Becky Lynch. She came in with, of course, her truck, which still looks great. That design on that truck still looks great with the man on it. So Becky ends up walking in to the Performance Center, and she ends up mentioning about her WrestleMania match last year and her win over Charlotte and Ronda Rousey. She ended up saying that she's been walking that razor blade thin line ever since. And so we had the replay of the match, the winner take all match, where both the Raw and the SmackDown Women's Championship were on the line. So we ended up seeing that, which still, the match was predictable. Wasn't a good match by any means. But we all knew that Becky was walking out with both of the titles at WrestleMania last year. So this was predicted way before WrestleMania last year. Hell, I even knew it. I was like, Becky's going to be Becky 2 belts at WrestleMania. And lo and behold, look what happened. So we saw that replay of a match. Becky walked out of WrestleMania last year. Becky 2 belts. So after we saw that replay of that match from last year's WrestleMania, which was, of course, the main event of WrestleMania last year, Becky ends up saying that that's the first time she's watched that match back. And she went on and talked about how Shayna Baszler and the title. Becky ended up saying that Shayna Baszler was right when she said taking the title from her would destroy her. She admitted that she doesn't know who she is without being champion these days. And Becky says she knows about Shayna's demons too. She ended up saying that Baszler just wants to do what her pal Ronda Rousey couldn't do, because of course Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey are best friends. And Becky ended up saying that that's Shayna's demon. And Becky ended up saying that Shayna will take the spotlight Ronda couldn't for once. And she says if she loses, she will get put back under Ronda's shadow. So then we see Shayna Baszler come from behind. She attacks Becky, locks in the Karafuda clutch on Becky. Shayna is shown dragging Becky over to the announce table. And Shayna ends up slamming Becky face first to the announce table. And Shayna then ends up launching Becky head first into the side of the announce table. Becky was shown holding on to her neck, clutching her neck and her shoulder on the ground. So So that was basically that. But my prediction: Shayna Baszler. She's going to be walking out of WrestleMania. She's going to be the new Raw Women's Champion. I think Becky's reign as champion is up. It's going to be up at WrestleMania. But that's my prediction. And then we had Aleister Black versus this guy named Jason Cade, jobber. Squash match. Aleister Black won the match, delivered the black mass to Jason Cade. So there you go. Aleister Black ended up winning. And we're still going to see Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania. And I'm like, this is just a throne. This was just a thrown-on match for WrestleMania. WWE just throwing one match on the WrestleMania card that does not need to be there. I mean, does Aleister Black and Bobby Lashley scream WrestleMania worthy match? Just WWE random throwing matches on WrestleMania, making it into a glorified house show. Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley is something that you would see at a house show. I could say the same for Elias and Baron Corbin. So then after Aleister Black versus Jason Cade, we had a 6-man tag match. It was Kevin Owens and the Street Profits versus Seth Rollins, Angel Garza, and Austin Theory. So the Street Profits came out. Kevin Owens ended up coming out also. Joining, of course, the Street Profits, Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins. And then out came Angel Garza. Came out with Zelina Vega. Zelina Vega was on the mic. And she ended up announcing that Andrade has suffered a very serious injury to his ribs and that he's not medically cleared to compete. So remember what I said, that Andrade was out of WrestleMania and he's not competing? This is, it's official right here. So Andrade is not competing at WrestleMania. So Vega ends up saying that she has access to the hottest up-and-coming talent. And she introduces Austin Theory from NXT. She ends up calling him the hottest free agent no more. So Austin Theory comes out, then Seth Rollins, and Austin Theory being with Zelina Vega and Angel Garza. I think that's a pretty cool move. I mean, I've seen Austin Theory wrestle. He's good in the ring. When I saw him at indie shows and also on NXT, I've seen him perform at indie shows here at Evolve, at the Evolve indie shows. And he is good. He's really good in the ring. Knows how to cut a promo. I've seen him cut promos when I went to Evolve shows. And he was the Evolve World Champion last year. So, I see good things in Austin Theory in WWE. Hopefully, they treat him good and not, screw with him. But the match itself here, this 6-man tag, it was okay. We had Kevin Owens starting off the match. He looks to start with Seth Rollins. Rollins ends up tagging in Austin Theory. Kevin Owens and Austin Theory end up starting the match, and Kevin Owens ends up, unloading on Austin Theory, beating him down. Angelo Dawkins comes in, and he tags in Montez Ford. They do a double team to Austin Theory, and there's a point in the match where Montez Ford, he ends up botching, and he hits the bottom of the ramp because we hear a big bang. We heard a big bang from the ramp. It looked like he landed on his back because it looked like Austin Theory moved out of the way. And Kevin Owens was in the ring. He ends up delivering a stunner to Angel Garza. Ends up pinning Garza. There you go. Kevin Owens and the Street Profits end up winning the match. And post-match, Seth Rollins comes in, delivers a stomp to Kevin Owens, and basically, that was that. But it was an okay six-man tag. I like that Austin Theory was being added along with Zelina Vega and Angel Garza. For the time being that Andrade is going to be out. But it sucks for Andrade. The guy just came off of a suspension, comes back, and now he's out again with an injury. That just sucks. And then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Kevin Owens was still in the ring, and he gets on the mic. He ends up saying that he's been thinking a lot about what Seth Rollins said last week, and after what happened. And he says he has a lot to say, and he knows that Seth Rollins is watching. So Kevin Owens ends up saying how Rollins said last week that he never trained in this building, and that it was built because of him, and everyone should thank him. So Kevin Owens ends up saying that he heard this place was actually built despite Seth Rollins. He says he heard Seth Rollins was a nightmare to deal with, and as soon as Rollins arrived in the developmental warehouse, he said he heard Seth Rollins thought he knew everything, and that no one liked him. No one liked Seth Rollins. He says Rollins has proved he's an arrogant dipshit. Kevin Owens says he's well aware of his own past and what people can say because of the path that he chose. So Kevin Owens ends up saying the difference is he's not delusional like Seth Rollins. And he says that Seth Rollins proved him right last week by talking about all of his WrestleMania moments. Ends up saying that he's a god when it comes to WrestleMania. While he said that Kevin Owens is just a disappointment. So Kevin Owens ends up saying that those words stung and stayed with him. He says, but the more he thought, he realized Seth Rollins' view is just as wrong. So Kevin Owens went on how he can claim the same accolades that Seth Rollins can. He ended up saying that he's man enough to admit he didn't get his accomplishments and moments on his own, as he had, someone helping him. He ended up saying that he's sorry to burst Seth Rollins' bubble, but Seth Rollins, always had backup or found some way to get what he wanted. Kevin Owens ended up saying that Seth Rollins needs to be honest with himself, because the only thing he said last week that made sense was when he was told that his past didn't matter when he first got to WWE. And nothing he'd done before WWE mattered. Kevin Owens said that will be so true this weekend when they get in the ring at WrestleMania. He says their past won't matter. All that matters is how they are going one-on-one. And Kevin Owens ends up saying that this Saturday he will be the one to burn it down. And that he will show Seth Rollins that he's not a god when he takes his first WrestleMania moment from Seth Rollins. And that was pretty much basically that, but pretty good promo from Kevin Owens. Then, after that, Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when it came back, we had a video package, Randy Orton and Edge, which, in my opinion, is this whole thing between Randy Orton and Edge. This might be, the best build for this WrestleMania. Really looking forward to this match between the both of them. The hype for this match has been good. WWE perfectly, built around both of these guys. Really cool, really awesome. Hopefully the match is not a disappointment at WrestleMania this weekend. So I think Randy Orton and Edge will deliver. So we had a video package with Randy Orton and Edge. And then we had a promo from Edge. Edge ended up saying that Randy Orton may have been right about his recent comments on him being a junkie for this. Edge ended up saying that he just loves the feeling he gets from fans in the arena, the connection and energy he gets from them. And he ended up saying because it all comes from them. It all comes from the fans. He ended up saying, let's face it, we're all junkies for this. He said he recalls being at ringside for Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior. He ended up saying that if you're not a junkie for this, you're just in his way. And he went on about grit and says Orton isn't jealous of him. He's jealous about his passions. And he says you can't fabricate passion. Either you have it or don't. And Edge says, says that he has it. And he says Orton only has it when Edge is around. He says everyone sees it except Randy Orton. And Edge says he inspires that passion in Orton. And that scares Orton. So Edge went on and he said about how Orton won't be able to pull himself back out after the beating at WrestleMania. So it was a decent promo from Edge. I really liked it. This whole build around the both of them has been really good. Hopefully their match delivers this weekend, whether it will be on night 1 or night 2. Hopefully it will be a good match between the both of them and really deliver. And then we had Asuka versus Kayden Carter. Kayden Carter from NXT. And Asuka comes in. She gets on the mic, starts yelling. And she's asking, oh, who is this? She starts yelling and ranting more. So the match itself, it was just a squash match. Asuka ends up winning the match. She locks in the Asuka lock on Kayden Carter. There you go. Asuka wins the match. Then post-match, Asuka ends up going to the announce table, puts a headset on, and she had words for Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. That was basically that, but we are going to see Kairi Sane and Asuka versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross at WrestleMania, and the women's tag team titles is going to be on the line. And then we saw footage of what happened earlier today. Tom Phillips ended up showing what happened. It was between Charlotte and Rhea Ripley. And Rhea Ripley was arriving to the Performance Center. Charlotte then attacks Rhea from the side. She ended up kicking Rhea into a wall. Officials came over. And Charlotte looked down at Rhea. She was taunting Rhea, calling her a rookie. And Charlotte told Rhea she will see her at WrestleMania. She does a woo and then walks off. So Rhea Ripley got up and she quietly said, yes. Now it's basically that, but there you go. With Charlotte and Rhea Ripley. You know, who knows if that's taking place, that match is taking place on night 1 or night 2 of WrestleMania. And then we saw the rerun match between Rey Mysterio and Brock Lesnar, the No Holds Barred match from Survivor Series last year, where the title was on the line. Of course, Brock Lesnar was champion, and that was a pretty decent match. I liked how Rey's son Dominic got involved, and they did the frog splash. Both Rey and Dominic did the frog splash onto Brock Lesnar, but in the end, Brock Lesnar ended up coming out victorious and retaining the title. But we saw that. And then, to close off Monday Night Raw tonight, Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar were in the ring. Paul Heyman ends up discussing how he hates pulling back the curtain, as he loves the magic of the business and how they entertain the fans. Paul Heyman ended up saying that this is the final Raw segment before WrestleMania. That is too big for one night. I hate when they say that. WrestleMania, it's too big for one night. So cringe. So cringeworthy. Terrible. So, Paul Heyman ended up saying they called this the Go Home segment, to the Go Home show, to the Go Home Raw before WrestleMania. And he says, for the last 20 years, more often than not, it's your champion, Brock Lesnar, that has stood here in this Go Home segment. And he's like, why is that? So Paul Heyman ends up saying, year in and year out, Brock Lesnar is the beast to slay, the conquer to conquer, the one to beat on the biggest show of the year. So Paul Heyman ends up saying this year, Drew McIntyre has truly stepped up. Paul Heyman ended up complimenting Drew McIntyre. He ends up showing respect to McIntyre. Paul Heyman ended up saying that Drew McIntyre is that special. Compared to the guy on the street, he's that special. Compared to the dumbass in the gym who says he can do that WWE stuff, he's that special. And, it's just Paul Heyman saying, oh, Drew McIntyre is special. So he ended up saying, who else is special? He mentions The Rock, who got laid out and beat by Brock Lesnar. He mentions Hulk Hogan, who had his blood wiped across Brock Lesnar's chest. He mentions Randy Couture, Shane Carwin, John Cena, The Undertaker. He ends up saying they were all special. They're legends and icons. So Paul Heyman ended up saying, but when they got in the ring with Brock Lesnar, they were not so goddamn special. They all were just Brock's bitch. So Brock Lesnar was shown. He was just staring straight ahead at the camera. He was just looking at the camera. And Paul Heyman ends up downplaying the Claymore kick. He says because all the other icons had big moves as well. And none of them worked on Brock Lesnar. He ended up saying that now that Lesnar knows the Claymore is coming, he will master a strategy that will deny the Claymore, or he will eat the Claymore, and then we find out if the kick can take Brock Lesnar down. So Paul Heyman ends up saying that he has something for us, more than a spoiler or a prediction. He says it will be a guarantee. He ended up saying that Brock Lesnar will be standing here next year on the Go Home Raw segment with the title over his shoulder. And Paul Heyman ends up saying Drew McIntyre is walking in special this year, but he will be walking out just like everybody else. He ends up saying that Drew McIntyre will be nothing more than Brock's bitch. And that was basically how Monday Night Raw ended tonight. But that is another match that I'm looking forward to. Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar. Hopefully, McIntyre wins the match. But it's got to be Drew McIntyre's time to be champion. But anyways, that was Monday Night Raw tonight. Anyways, that's it for the Monday Night Raw review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. And definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. If you guys haven't checked out my previous video, I did a movie review of Sunset Park. Very underrated film with Rhea Perlman in it. Definitely go check out that review if you guys haven't seen it. And also, there will be a unboxing video coming tomorrow or later today because I'm doing this. It's Tuesday morning now. So there will be an unboxing video coming up later today. I pre-recorded it, did it earlier today, so you guys will be seeing it later on. So hopefully you guys will be enjoying this unboxing. Very nice thing that I got that I wanted for years. I finally got my hands on it. So definitely be on the lookout for that video later today. So till then, thank you all for watching. Give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and enjoy the unboxing video that you'll be seeing later on today. So until that video, see you all later.